What can you expect when hiring Bowers Law for your Maryland accident case? What are we going to do? What aren't we going to do? What can you count on? This week on Monday Morning Lawyer, we're going to talk about how all of that can be boiled down by saying peace of mind right after this. Good morning. This is Jobeth Bowers, your Elkton accident and injury attorney. Yep, I'm coming at you live again from my Elkton office right here on Main Street in Elkton, Maryland. We get a lot of questions when people call or when I talk to them casually out and about and on the streets. What's going to happen when I call your office? If you're calling my office, if you've been in an accident, you probably know there's a ton of moving parts. There are so many. I mean, the first couple of days, the phone calls you're going to get from your insurance company, from the other driver's insurance company, from the hospital, from medical providers, rental cars, all this other stuff that you have to situate with. And it's a nightmare. And it's even more of a nightmare when you have the same insurance company that you're insured with and perhaps the other driver is. Am I calling the right one? Am I using the right claim number? Am I telling this one things that I shouldn't be because I think that they're my insurance company when they're really the other person's insurance company? Stop. You don't have to deal with any of that. One call. All you got to make is one call. I know you've heard this type of thing with so many companies saying, hey, one call does it all. But look, this number right here, you call my office. You give us all the information that we need to work your claim. You give us continued information, which I'll get to in a moment as we need it. The more we know, the better. Answer our questions, respond to our emails, to our texts, whatever it may be. We're going to work with you in your preferred communication method. But understand that outside of just a few things that will make complete sense why my office isn't going to do them, we're going to handle everything for you. Now, let's start with the bad news, kind of. What are the things that we're not going to do for you? Number one, we're not going to your medical appointments. That one's obvious. I need to say it because otherwise me saying that we're going to do everything is technically a lie. But that's not the case. Obviously, you're going to go to your medical appointments. You're going to get the care that you need. You're going to work with your doctors. What we're not going to do is determine what care you need. Okay? Normally in a one-to-one setting, unless I have a client that's a doctor, I will make a joke that says, hey, I've got the same medical degree that you do. I won't make that joke here because somebody watching this on YouTube or Facebook might actually be a doctor. You've got a better medical degree than I do because I don't have one. I'm never going to tell a client, hey, you need to go get this treatment or that treatment or get the surgery that the doctor's saying. That is a decision between you and the doctors. That is a decision where you have to deal with your body for the rest of your life. We're not making those decisions for you. Okay? In fact, the advice that I will give you if you come to me with a question like that is to ignore the fact that I exist. You need to make, as a patient, medical decisions based on you living with that body, the one that you're sitting in right now, for the rest of your life. Don't think about how it impacts the legal claim. That's my job. That's one of the things that my office is going to take off of your plate and handle for you. The two insurance companies, sometimes three insurance companies, if it's a multi-vehicle accident, we handle all of that. We know which claim number is for which party. We know which information needs to go to which insurance company, when, and why. So you don't need to deal with any of that stuff. How are my medical bills getting paid for? We've talked about that in previous episodes. I'll make sure that I link them down in the description. But we're going to work with your health insurance company. We're going to work with the medical providers. We're going to make sure that that personal injury protection coverage gets used in the best way possible for you. We are going to, a lot of that might go to your wages. It might go, there's a lot of different things that if we are handling everything from the very beginning, And we are basically the quarterback saying, hey, you go here and you go there, boom, touchdown. You win. We have had situations where because somebody contacted us really, really, really soon after the accident, comparing it to what had happened if it were on autopilot with fingers crossed for the first couple of weeks, over $10,000 additional in our client's pocket because we controlled the order in which everything got paid and who paid what. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to think about that. This is what my office does. As of the time of this recording and for the foreseeable future, we don't handle any cases that are not injury cases, specifically auto accidents. There are legitimately like two other types of injury cases that my office will handle. They are super rare, and we never really seem to have more than one or two of those claims at any given time, even though we're dealing with hundreds of auto accident cases every single day. Not new ones every single day. That'd be a little ridiculous, but we're always dealing with a handful, with hundreds of clients all day, every day. We handle the communication with all of the insurance companies. You don't need to worry about it. With most, not all, but with most medical providers in the area, within a few days, we have the ability to get most of them to hold your copays so that they can be paid at the end out of the settlement. It's very, very rare that we have a doctor that or a medical office that once they know that we're involved is not willing to do that. We can get most of them to hold the copay. So you're not even worried about it. Now, if you want the peace of mind there, knowing that, hey, the bill is out of sight, it's out of mind, it's paid, it's not going to hurt you to do that. And I know that some folks want that handled. That's a-okay. It ultimately means that your settlement check is going to be bigger at the end because we don't have to pay those copays out of it. Regardless, as long as you're communicating with us, because not all of these billing offices are absolutely perfect in their recording, which is why we sometimes will pursue these claims with the bad billing, which is actually handled through a colleague of ours who was on a previous episode. I'll put that link down in the description if you don't know what I'm talking about. The more we know, the better. I will make sure in the future that I do an episode about really all of the things that we need to know and how important that communication is with our office, because it really helps us move things along quickly. You communicate with us if you're going to whichever doctor or therapy office that you started with, and you start and finish and you never get referred out to anybody else. It's a little bit easier for us to track down all those medical bills and records. However, obviously, if you get referred out, let's say they want you to get a CT scan, additional x-rays, an MRI, anything like that, we need to know. If it's not happening in-house at a place that we already know that you're treating, we need to know about it. That way we can track it down. You don't have to worry about requesting those bills or those records. You just need to make that call back to us right here. Or once you're a client, you'll get our text line. You can call or text us. Those things are set up so that they go directly into your file. You're not just communicating with us, but there's a record of it in your file. That way, if there was ever a question of, hey, did I send you this photo? I could pull it up and it's right there. We're going to want all that information. Obviously, we need that stuff from you. We can't psychically get those photos from your phone onto our system. You will need to send us that stuff. But again, all of the communication that you're really going to need to do is with us and with your doctors. Obviously, you're going to go drop off your own rental car. You're going to pick up your own vehicle. You're going to cash your own total loss check. We don't really handle any of the stuff related to the property damage. There's not a whole lot that we could do, and it wouldn't be worth it for you to hire us in 99% of the situations. Very rarely is there a situation where you want us to deal with property damage, because there is no pain and suffering there. There is no allocation that offsets attorney's fees or anything like that. If you want to hire us for property damage, you're probably going to lose money. So we highly recommend that you don't do it. We'll guide you on what to do, but you're going to obviously taking cash your own check, you're going to pick up your own vehicle from the body shop and everything like that. Anything on the injury side, other than getting your medical care and communicating that to us, is completely hands off. So again, all insurance companies involved, even if, and I think this has only happened once, but I've dealt with like a 7-car pileup. We have to communicate with each and every one of those insurance companies. We're probably only really dealing on a day-to-day basis with your insurance company and whoever caused the accident. But boy, oh boy, imagine the nightmare of taking calls from 7 different insurance companies. When you work with us, you don't have to deal with any of that. We handle it all. We get the nightmare of dealing with those 7 insurance companies until we figure out which one's at fault. And then 5 of those 7 drop away. We're dealing with yours in the at fault. We fight all the fights. If a lawsuit needs to be filed, rare, but it happens probably 20% of the time. In the cases that we have, we file a lawsuit. They don't all go to court, so don't worry about that. Every single one of these cases is unique, has its own factors, where it happened, how it happened, who the insurance companies are, and how much insurance the other drivers have are significant factors in whether these cases settle or whether they go to trial or if we need to file suit in them. You don't have to know any of that. We'll tell you. You are more than welcome to ask and get answers to any and all of the questions that you might have. We deal with this stuff every day, all day. We expect you to have questions. You can expect us to have the answers to those questions. And again, to iron out all of the confusing stuff, you work with us. We handle everybody else. It's really that simple. And obviously something like this is going to create follow-up questions. So here's how you get in touch with us. Email us if you have questions that you want answered on this podcast every week, Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. For the most part, although I do have some travel coming up, live right here from the office. Otherwise, you're going to see a different background if I'm in a different place. I really enjoy spending the time giving this information to everybody out there. Hopefully you never need us, but if you do, the number is right here. And again, even if it's a topic that's not related to an auto accident, send us an email. You've seen, if you've been watching this, if you're subscribed to this, other episodes where I bring folks in. We've talked about the billing thing, elder law, scams I've even had guests on, employment law. We talked about the assault cases, largely with the schools and the archdiocese and things of that nature. If there's another question on a topic that I don't handle, I'm going to bring a guest. You've seen me do it before. That person's going to know exactly what they're talking about and be able to answer those questions. So until next time, until next Monday, be well, be safe out there. We'll see you next week.